So did you think because of the M1A nerf and the nerf to the contractor gloves and the nerf to the Overlord knee pads that we weren't gonna be able to use the LMG class? Well, you were wrong, because it still hits really hard. They're still the best in slot items, and I'll go over the full build breakdown in just a second. But I just wanted to show you, this is heroic right here. You just saw how fast I ate through those bosses. We have one more enemy and we just finished it. I'm also going to show you a little bit of gameplay because I got some rogue agents right after this. You can hear the music right now pops off. As soon as you hear that music, you guys know, okay, we got some rogue agents around. And even against those rogue heroic agents, this thing is eating away through their armor. You know how tanky these guys are. These guys are pretty challenging, but they were no problem with this LMG build. I was able to finish them off pretty quick, and you can see there goes one rogue agent. We have one more on the other side, so we just have to push towards him. But I personally still love the LMG. I was running the LMG class. That was probably my number one build that I ran in this game before everybody started running the M1A. And the reason why the M1A was a little bit better is because the LMG tends to suppress the enemy. But besides that, the LMG class, this class right here is still very powerful. So it just depends on what you want to use. I like pairing mine up with the Diamondback now, because the Diamondback actually hits really hard. And look at that. Whew. We're able to finish this off. We finished off the control point. I think I did this control point in about 8-9 minutes, and then I had to fight those rogues off so I could collect my loot. But what is the build that I'm using, right? You can see that I'm running this LMG right here. What does it look like? The MG5, the MG5 is probably what most of you guys are guessing. You can see I have the gunner class on the back. Well, let's dive into it, boys. So right off the bat, when we look at the build, you can see I have the typical red build, right? The typical red build. I have an infantry MG5, I have the exotic Diamondback, and I'm running the gunner class. I like the gunner class. It has a lot of really good benefits for the LMG, plus it gives you that 50 round large pouch. Now, the infantry MG5 I'm running has 101,000 damage, 15% LMG damage, 12% damage to targets out of cover. It has critical hit chance on here. I would like to have damage to armor right here. And then we have fast hands. Critical hits add a stack of 4% reload speed bonus. Max stack is 40. Fast hands for LMGs is key, guys. It just lets you see how fast I was reloading. It's the benefit is there. Now I run the C79 scope for that 5% critical hit chance. Now I do have that large pouch. I told you get that plus 50 rounds. That's going to put me at 100 round mag. Now you can only get that if you're running the gunner class. I do have an accuracy vertical grip. You can use the stability one if you want. I think the accuracy one works a little bit better for me. And then I do run the stability suppressor because it gives you that 20% stability. So 20% stability, 10% accuracy. That's what I like going with there. Now for my secondary, I am running the Diamondback. And this Diamondback is almost god roll because, you know, we have that new re-rolled table. We have 14% rifle damage, 17% critical hit damage, and 10% headshot damage. This thing hits. So this is my backup now. So like when I use my infantry MG5, I usually run this. And then I do run the gunner class on pistol. This gives you perfect preservation. Killing an enemy repairs 12% of your armor over 5 seconds. So those are the 3 weapons I go with. Now let's get into the build, right? Let's get into the build. You can see it's all reds, 726k armor. We have the field proficiency mask, 10% headshot damage here. We have 15% weapon damage rolled on here, 4.7% critical hit chance, almost 12% critical hit damage, and then I have 11% critical hit damage mod on here. So of course, all 3. Now for the chest, we are running the second piece of Providence for that 10% critical hit chance. We have 15% weapon damage, 9% critical hit damage, 3% critical hit chance, and 6% critical hit chance. We have glass cannon. All damage you deal is amplified by 25%. We have the Cheska holster, which gives us 10% critical hit chance. We have 10% weapon damage on here, 5% critical hit chance, and then a mod on here for 11% critical hit damage. So another crucial piece, you want this because it has that 10% critical hit chance. There's no other piece that gives you one piece, 10% critical hit chance. Helps us hit our max of 60% critical hit chance on this build. That's what you want to go for. For our named Overlord knee pads, the Fox pairs, these are still best in slot. 12% weapon damage here. We have 8% damage to targets out of cover, which got nerfed, but it's still really good. And we have 12% critical hit damage roll on here. Now, the reason why it's still best in slot, even if you roll something that gave you more critical damage, you're still going to hit harder with this because the 8% is multiplicative. Now we have the contractor gloves, which give us that 10% LMG damage. Plus we have weapon damage rolled on here, and we have the 8% damage to armor. That's multiplicative, so that's why it's better. And then we rolled critical hit damage on there. So those are still best in slot. For the backpack, our third piece of Providence for the 15% critical hit damage. We have 11% weapon damage, 6% critical hit chance, 7.4% headshot damage, and 11% critical hit damage. We have Vigilance, increased weapon damage by 25%. Taking damage disables this buff. I would love to have perfect Vigilance, but I haven't got that backpack. Now you can get rid of the headshot damage on the backpack and put more critical hit damage, but that's up to you. Now, just to show you my watch, I do have critical hit damage 5% right here. I have 1% critical chance. I have 10% weapon damage maxed out. So just so you can see where I'm getting some more of my damage. My watch isn't fully maxed out. I have armor maxed out, and then I have health right here. We have reload speed maxed out, and then we have ammo capacity halfway there. And then on this side, I'm just running skill repair at 7%, and then we have skill haste at, so those two, that's how I have my watch right now. And I'm only 355, so I just wanted to show you my watch before. If we go into the stats, I'm running 57% critical hit chance. It should be 60%, 124% critical hit damage, 102% headshot damage. We have 8% armor damage, and then remember we have that 8% damage targets out of cover. That doesn't pop up on here. Plus the on our LMG. Now we go down, we have 40% light machine gun damage, LMG damage, and then 87% all weapon damage. And that's why this build is hitting really hard, and that's why it's really effective. So at the end, we're running a glass cannon build, but we're still using the infantry MG5 with fast hands. This is what really shows cases build. Now for the skills, I like running the Reviver Hive, or you can run the Fixer Drone. That's really going to be up to you. So what I want to do is show you a little bit of gameplay with the LMG to show you how powerful it is. And then I do want to talk to you guys about some of the negatives when you do run an LMG build. So right off the bat, you can see that enemy was suppressed, right? That's the one negative of running an LMG build, is you do tend to suppress the enemies a lot. But it could also be a positive thing. So say you have 2-3 enemies shooting out of cover. If you start to suppress 2 of them, then you can really just focus on the other enemy. It can slow you down a little, but that could help you out when you're trying to fight multiple enemies at once. This build still hits really hard, and when you pair this with the gunner class, it's pretty easy to control the recoil. Now the drones, sometimes the hitboxes are a little bit hard to hit with these versus when you're running a rifle build, but I have no issue in destroying any enemies with the LMG build. It still hits just as hard as it hit back prior to the nerf. It might have hit a little bit harder, but I'm not really seeing too much difference. So if you're looking for an alternate to the M1A until the M1A gets buffed, this is probably going to be where you want to go. You can even try running the Diamondback. The one downfall to Diamondback is only has, I think it's 5 bullets and no 6 bullets. Sorry, that's a little. I wish they would bump it up to maybe like 10, 11, and then I would think it'd be more effective. But you can see right there, it does really hit, especially when it marks the enemy. Deciding on what secondary you want to run, that's up to you. But if you look right here, as long as I can hit the hot shots, it works good. Another downfall to the Diamondback, it doesn't have a scope, so you can't scope in. So when they're a little bit far, the enemy could look a little bit small. So that's just another thing for you guys to keep in mind. But as you're seeing, like, I'm not having trouble killing anything with this build. If they're in front of me, I'm going to drop them. This is just a really good build, and it's always been a really good build, and it's probably one of my most popular videos when I first released it. I think the only difference from the very first video I released was I added the, I want to say I added the Overlord knee pads with the LMG build. I want to say that. I think that's what I did. I put, with the LMG build, I did add the Overlord knee pads recently, but I think I released that on the gaming channel. If you guys don't know, I do have a second channel that I release content on there from time to time. It's called the gaming channel. It's me, a couple other creators. We work hand in hand trying to get that channel going. So yeah, that is the gaming channel, but this is still my #1 channel, and I do appreciate you guys for supporting this. If you guys have any questions on this build, let me know in the comment section. I just wanted to show you guys LMG builds are still live, they're still hitting hard, and they're still able to clear these control points with no problem at all. We're gonna just let you finish this off right here. I just want to show you the final boss real quick. So we're gonna finish him off. I'm trying to keep my distance. You know, that fire is still really powerful. But if you guys play smart with these builds, if you guys play smart with glass cannon, you'll still realize, wow, it still works really good. So you should be able to still clear those heroic missions. You still should be able to clear those heroic control points. When you get these rogue agents that you saw at the very beginning of the video, you should be able to clear those too. But this guy is not going to be any problem at all. And look how fast I reload. I just want you to point that out one more time. Look at that reload time. It's pretty much nothing. But yeah, this is the build. Let me know if you have any questions. I will see you guys in the next one. But until then, nothing but skills is out.